and welcome to the Commentary Hub. I'm Russ, and I'm with one of our new recruits this evening. We have got Bruno who's joining us for this upcoming 23-24 season, and he's going to be with us for some of the matches that we have got coming up this season. Include on some co-commentaries, sort of with hopefully in a few weeks down the line or a few months down the line. He'll be one of the main voices you'll hear on the channel alongside myself, Nicholas, Paul, being the lead commentator. So just first of all, and very good, very first of all, welcome to the commentary, Bruno. How you doing, my friend? You okay?
I'm all right, thanks. Thanks for the very nice introduction. Very excited to get started very soon.
Yes, and we're going to be looking at some of the Premier League games that's kicking off this season. Obviously, we'll touch upon a few games a little bit later on in the programme as well. But just before we do start, touch upon some of the teams in the Premier League and some of the games coming up this weekend. Which team at this moment in time, because we've still got a lot of window left to go, Bruno, at this moment in time, which club in the Premier League do you think has done the most business and been one of the busiest teams, and which team as well do you think pulled off a really good top signing?
Well, I think you've got to look at the sides that are going to be battling relegation and what they've done to combat that. And I think the first team that comes to mind are Burnley. I think under Vincent Kompany they were very good in the Championship last year. And there were a lot of players that had to go at the end of last season after the relegation, but now they're back in the Premier League. They've made some smart business, no flash signings, but players like James Trafford, Darragh O'Shea, Jordan Bayer, Nathan Redmond with Premier League experience, and Sander Berge coming in very recently. I think that they're building a squad that's going to compete in the Premier League, but that's going to keep them up fairly comfortably.
Yes, which team has made a really good signing for you, which you think that's a really good signing, which you would like say your team West Ham, you would have liked them to go for? Which is anyone out there in that sort of calibre, Bruno?
Well, I've always been a big fan of Harvey Barnes, the former Leicester winger, who's now gone to Newcastle. Obviously, Newcastle now have the pull of the money in the Champions League. But I really do think with my club, West Ham, I think that the signing of Harry Maguire, the potential signing at the moment, would be very important for us and would be a very big signing, because you've got to be a half-decent player to play as many games for England and captain Manchester United as Harry Maguire has. And I think him coming into West Ham would be a real coup for David Moyes' side.
Yes, and obviously as well there, West Ham, you touched upon Maguire, but it looks as though you're going to be signing James Ward-Prowse from Southampton. As a West Ham fan, you must be happy fetching him into the London Stadium as well, should that go over the line this weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, David Moyes has been known through the years for being a very set-piece orientated manager, and James Ward-Prowse, I mean, there's no better deliverer of a football in England, really. And we've got some big centre-backs. We've got Thomas Souček, Kurt Zouma, Aguerd, and hopefully Harry Maguire now to be attacking those corners and those set pieces to make us a very dangerous side from them.
Yes, absolutely, Bruno. We're going to be touching a few games in a moment for this weekend's Premier League action. But just looking at the table and the teams in the Premier League at the moment, we'll touch upon the relegation battle first of all. If I were to pressure into asking you for your three relegated teams this season, who would they be in which? And you can start from the 20th to the 18th or 18th to 20th. Who would you put as the three relegated teams? And then I'll mention mine after.
Well, I think any time that you mention relegation at the start of the season, you look back to who the promoted sides are. And I think Burnley, who won the league very comfortably last year, I think they'll be safe. They made some good business under Vincent Kompany. They play some nice football. Then Sheffield United, who came second, I can't say I'm a big fan of their transfer window so far. They've lost probably their two best players in Sander Berge and Ndiaye. And I think Sheffield United will finish rock bottom in 20th. In 19th, I think I'm going to go for Luton Town. They're fairly local to me, and obviously everyone loves and knows the Luton Town story. But I just think the Premier League is going to be a little bit too big. I don't think they're going to disgrace themselves, but I don't think they're going to have enough to stay up. And for me, the last position, 18th, is between Wolves and Everton. I think two sides, big clubs, but they're really on the descendancy. Wolves are in a bit of mayhem. They've lost their manager just days before the start of the season. But Everton have been on a downwards curve for a number of years now. And I think that the last season at Goodison Park is going to be the last season of Everton's Premier League status.
Yes, and for me, I've gone the same bottom three as you, Bruno, but I've gone the 18th. I've gone for Everton, and I think like you is going between Everton and Wolves, but I just think Wolves will have enough. I said that before they got rid of Julian Lopetegui and fetched in Gary O'Neill. But I think Everton will end up going down. I think it could be down to the points deduction potential they could face, or with a financial fair play situation hanging over their heads. Yeah. I've then gone with Sheffield United in 19th. I just think Sheffield United are going to go down, but I think Sheffield United will finish 19th rather than rock bottom like you. And then I've gone for Luton to finish rock bottom. I don't think. No, they signed Ross Barkley the other day, but I don't think they've got enough quality in that side, Luton, to have to finish anything higher than 20th for me. Let's turn our attentions at the moment now, Bruno, to the top end of the table. And who's your top four this season in the Premier League?
Well, I think starting at number one, I mean, I don't really think there's any other option than Man City. I mean, I know they were run close last year by Arsenal, but for me, they're just the dominant side of the country. And I think Manchester City will win the league fairly easily this year. For second place, I'm going to go with Man United. I think Man United are going to come back strong. I like some of the business they've done this summer. They've got certain players coming into their second year in the new system and the league, such as Casemiro. And then they've signed Mason Mount and Højlund up front. And I think that United can really challenge until the last couple of games. In third place, I'm going to go Arsenal. I think Arsenal have a big drop off from last season. I don't think they're going to be as good. I think the Champions League is going to really hurt them. They haven't been in it for a number of years, and I think that's going to hurt them. Playing midweek, Saturday, Wednesday, Tuesday, it's going to be very difficult for them. And in fourth, I'm going to go Chelsea. I think Pochettino is a very good manager. Did a good job at Spurs, consistently up there in the top four with not the best of squads. And I think at Chelsea's got a chance to have them up there and go from no Europe, which is a real coup for them, no midweek games, and go straight back up to the top four.
Yes, well, for me, in my top four, I've gone Man City to win the title, a bit like you, Bruno. Second, I've gone for Arsenal. I think Arsenal will, with the additions of Timber and Rice and Havertz, three quality players, in my opinion. And obviously, they're going to be signing David Raya, another quality goalkeeper, to challenge with Ramsdale. I think they're just going to finish second again, just behind Man City. I've then got Manchester United in third. Like, I do like the business they've done, especially with Højlund coming in as one of the new striking options as well. And then fourth, for me, I think they've done really good business getting in Alexis McAllister this window, chasing Lavia, going in for Caicedo as well to challenge Chelsea. Whether that gets done is another question for another day. With me, I've gone with Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool to finish fourth this season. And so I think Liverpool will just pip Pochettino's Chelsea. I do like some of the business Chelsea's done as well, though. But I just think it'll be on goal difference where Liverpool just pip Chelsea to the final fourth spot and the final Champions League spot this season. Obviously, Bruno, you're a West Ham United fan, and for me, I've got you to finish in 11th. and that's down to the. I know you struggled last season because of the European football, but I think this season better squad coming in, players, especially if you get Ward Prowse over the line and potentially Maguire. I know a lot of people don't rate Maguire, but I think Maguire's a top defender, and I think and Ward Prowse having him on his set pieces will be a bit would be a lot deadly to replace Rice with Ward Prowse. I think no disrespect to Declan Rice because I think he's a good player, but for me, I think in that midfield alongside Souček, Rice and Souček's relationship had run his course, and I think he needed someone to probably help
Yeah, I agree.
Souček take his game to the next level. And I think Ward Prowse may be that player. So, but I think, but I put you to finish 11th this season. Where do you think West Ham would finish? And would you be, and say you've got another European final and finished 11th? Would you consider that as a successful season? Because I know last season, although West Ham fans said even though you won the Europe Conference League, it wasn't a successful season with the position that you finished in. That Conference League papered over the cracks, should I say? Would you think if you finished 11th and going to say another European final or semi-final this time and not go the one further, do you think you could potentially that would be a class of successful season for West Ham? And where have you actually think you'll finish this season, Bruno?
Yeah, I think 11th is round about where West Ham should be finishing. I mean, they've obviously lost their captain and probably best player in Declan Rice for a lot of money, and they're using that money now to sign some very important squad players that are going to help them compete on all fronts in the domestic cup competitions in Europe and in the league. I think the league is around the 8 to 12 mark. I think West Ham should be battling the likes of Aston Villa and Brighton for just that last European spot around about there. And I think Tottenham could be dragged into that battle. I think that their squad is low on quality. I think in terms of European and Cup games, I think all West Ham fans, we really want a Wembley final. It's been a long time since we've been in a Cup final. 2006 was the last time we were in a domestic Cup final, and that was in Cardiff. So a Wembley Cup final would be the dream. But I think if you just have a good cup run in all cups and you give it a good go in Europe, it's going to be very difficult this year. There's a lot of good teams in the Europa League, but a good cup run and a mid-table finish, I think, would be deemed as fairly successful for West Ham. And with David Moyes in the last year of his contract, I think he's going to have to do something pretty spectacular to have that renewed. And I think that it will come into next season, next summer. I think West Ham will probably have a new, younger, more upcoming manager that could take this very good squad of players and push West Ham to the next level.
Yes, and I think it could be as well. And I think the additions that he could be making in Ward Prowse should the game over the line, and Maguire would help you take that next step and finish a bit further up the Premier League table. Big thank you then to Bruno for his time on this programme today, and big thank you for your predictions for the Premier League season. We'll look forward to having you on the channel throughout the upcoming season, my friend.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to commentating on some games.